Hello, everyone. The 13 Scale here, also known as Scale, and welcome back to more Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. Oh, I hope my printer doesn't screw anything. Now my printer's not printing right. This is still the same recording session, by the way, in case literally anybody cared. Like I don't know, man. I'm just here. Let's continue to play. I'm just gonna deal with whatever the hell is going on in my life at a later point. Anyway, it's February 24th, 12:14 p.m., District Court, courtroom number 9. And we've got Sheriff Jake Marshall on the stand. Or at least we will. The court will now reconvene for the trial of Miss Lana Skye. Emma didn't come back. Is she gonna come back in the 11th hour as a witness and, like, help or something? Allow me to call the next witness to the stand. The officer in charge of guarding the evidence room on the day of the crime. I might need to reread over those files. I don't know that I remember them. Witness, please state your name and occupation. Oh, no, How are you? Okay, how are you talking when you're drinking? Me, partner? I'm just a man, same as you. Wandering the trails of civilization. Just say your fucking name, man. Occasionally helping the elderly cross intersections when needed. Yes, we get it, you're a Boy Scout. Oh, I know. You're a patrolman. Oh. What? As for my name, if you listen hard enough, you could hear the wailing going on outside. No. As for my name, if you listen hard enough, you can hear the howling wind calling it out. What pretentious edgelord 6th grade cowboy western shit. Oh my god, that's just what he is. He's just a cowboy western edgelord. And this is we got Edgy Boy right next to us. And to be exact, it's Jake Marshall, Your Honor. The other edgelord not having any of the current edgelord. I'm in. A howling wind? I have never heard Edgeworth described that way before. That's what we're calling him. We're calling Edgeworth the howling. I just assumed that he was, like, you know, being facetious. You know, like if you just yell my name out into the void, outside you'll hear the wind whistle it back. Not that we're calling Edgeworth the howling wind. Oh, buddy. Look, Phoenix, you need to come up with some new nicknames for your boyfriend, okay? If I called my fiance the howling wind, I wonder how that would go. Now, Mr. Marshall, let me ask you something. Sure. That's not a question. I was prepared for that to be a question. That wasn't a question. You were in charge of guarding the evidence room on the day that the crime took place. Is that correct? Yeah. There we go. That was the question part. According to the papers, partner. Answer the freaking question. Were you or were you not? It doesn't matter what the papers say. Were you actually? What do you mean? A desperado's soul is as bound... Fuck me, man. This really is some edgelord crap. All right. Even my cat's not having any of it. She gave up to lick her own butt. A desperado's soul is as boundless as the desert sands. No paper to sum it up. I'm just gonna keep squinting. Maybe it's best if we get on with this quickly. That's a joke for you, buddy. I'm about to cross-examine this dude in the next Tuesday, so there's gonna be a lot of words coming out of this guy's mouth. Please, share with us your testimony of the day of the crime. Sure. Okay. I'm sorry, I was looking at my cat. She's making some life choices, I think. Anyway, in plain old, and I'm giving him Marshall's voice in plain old English. Oh crap! My print. I knew it. Sorry, hold on. My 3D printer has been screwing up, and I can't exactly figure out why. So I would like for it to stop. I'm just going to let it keep going and pray that it doesn't break anything too bad. Now it's trying to stick to my finger because I put glue on it. Anyway, in just plain old... Now I have glue on my finger. Could you just... I thought I had Z-Hop turned on this thing. Anyway, keep going. I'm sorry. If anyone could tell me why my printer's acting weird, that'd be cool. I'm just gonna let it keep going. Day of the crime. My job was to keep a wary eye on that bone orchard. Oh, a graveyard. On a a bone orchard? A bone orchard. Stop screwing up my print. The POS. I just want to finish printing the shelf. Anyway. They said I was supposed to make rounds 3 times a day, but that ain't my style. Oh, so you weren't even there. Besides, the room's protected by 2 security systems anyway. If I remember right, I was at the street-side saloon at the time it went down. I'm just an innocent traveling man, so if you're out of ammo, it's time I hit the trail. Bro, you're not going anywhere. If anything, you're probably going to jail. My eyelashes itched. There we go. I think I've temporarily fixed it. All right. I can't say I particularly care for your attitude. I can't say I care for your beard, but you don't see me complaining. Shit. What happened to this thing's nested and settled and whatever? Oh, God damn it. I yield. Wait a minute. What do you mean by 2 security systems? I mean the security cameras and the ID card reader. What about the fingerprint scanner? That's 3. I reckon even a cowpoke like you knows about those. Yes, well, what about the fingerprint? Thank you. What about the fingerprint activated locks on the evidence lockers? Fingerprint activated locks? What kind of newfangled doohickeys are those? This is your section, buddy, and you don't even know what is guarding it? He is not being very helpful. He's not that good with machines or following orders. Why do we have him? Everyone's got their weaknesses. Now, don't they, Mr. Prosecutor? I hate you. This one seems like trouble. Okay, Mr. Wright, he's all yours. Yeah, well, I asked for this shit, so I guess that's fine. Day of the crime. My job was to keep a wary eye on that bone orchard. So how exactly did you keep an eye on the evidence room, especially since you don't like technology or cameras or following orders or doing anything? I just made sure nothing moved in the security camera's monitor. That room's so still. Every time it dies in there, I just take a caretaker who entered the... What? My bad. Even time dies in there. I was just a caretaker who entered the recordings. You entered them? Videos of nothing aren't that useful. When the time would come, I'd erase the tape. If nothing unusual is recorded, tapes are to be erased every 6 hours. Each time I'd erase a tape, it felt like I was erasing part of my life. That's depressing as shit. But alright, I get it. It's still going well? No. Oh well. This guy's got a flair for the dramatic. No kidding, he's an edgelord. But it isn't going to do him any good. So in actuality, you don't physically enter the evidence room? They say I was supposed to make rounds 3 times a day, but that ain't my style. What is your style? But you made your rounds on the day of the crime, though, right? Ain't you hear a word I said, partner? I told you, that ain't my style. So... what? I'm afraid I don't understand. It means he's never actually monitored anything. But yet when I came to get him, the tapes had already been erased. No desperado I know lets rules get in his way. Why the fuck do you work for the police department then? You are the rules. No desperado I know joins the police force. Thank you. So, Officer Marshall, on the day of the crime, just between you and me, I didn't set foot in the evidence room that day. I think that's a lie. There was a rubber glove stuck in the victim's locker. Do you know anything about that? Sorry, partner, can't say I do. I haven't been in that crypt in weeks. How does this guy avoid being fired? Thank you. I wouldn't be so blatant to admit that I couldn't do my damn job. Besides, the security room's protected by 2 security systems anyway. So, you used to be a detective, and you've used the evidence room in the past, correct? Of course. Back in the day, my locker was a gold mine of evidence. And yet, you didn't know about the fingerprint locking mechanism? Sorry, partner, I ain't that good with machines. I couldn't even tell you how a bike works. That's quite incredible, especially because you're trying to go for this whole Western desperado shit. They had trains, and they had bikes. Not that people use the bikes, but you know. The sensors on the locker handles cannot be seen. It is well known that some detectives are unaware of their presence. Yeah, I know. That doesn't mean I'm happy about it. Now that he mentions it, Detective Gumshoe said something like that too. At any rate, it doesn't seem that this is relevant to the crime. Can you tell us what you were doing when the crime took place? Yeah, having a frickin' nervous meltdown. If I remember right, I was at the street side saloon at the time it went down. Okay, so what were you doing in a place like that? I was eating spaghetti. What? Not even Angel Steak lunches can beat that parlor Vengole Sepia pasta. You mean to tell us you abandoned your police duty to eat some noodles? Not at all. Not all desperados eat tacos, partner. That's not what I meant. I hope this at least has taught you a lesson. How about you fire him? This just proves he's incompetent. Something happened under his watch. How about you just fire the guy? That's strange. This is usually where Edgeworth says, did you not want to raise this year? Yeah, that's a good point. I'm just an innocent traveling man, so if you're out of ammo, it's time I hit the trail. Out of ammo? Officer Marshall? That's right, partner. Or as you'd call it, evidence. Did somebody play Danganronpa? If you plan to pin me to this crime, then you better draw. Otherwise, you're just wasting my time. My steel horse is waiting to carry me back west into the sunset. One thing seems clear. Despite being responsible for guarding the evidence room, the witness doesn't appear to have anything. or have seen anything. No. Texans don't take orders from anyone. Everyone knows that. You're not from Texas. Apparently your superiors don't. Okay, so I have a trump card up my sleeve, so I best keep my cool. Before I use it, though, I'd better up the ante. My job was to keep wary of that bone orchard. They say I was supposed to make rounds 3 times a day, but that ain't my style. Besides, the rooms are protected by 2 security systems. Anyway, if I remember right, I was at a street side saloon at the time it went down. This one's new evidence, so I just have to prove that he was there. I mean, there you go.
Objection!
That's what I get. Officer Marshall, doesn't it strike you as odd? That is, you being called to testify like this? After all, you weren't in the security room at the time of the crime. And yet you dragged me down here. Explain yourself, partner. Sure. It's quite simple, really. You left a very large trail behind at the scene. Or to be exact, a handprint. Listen real good, partner. Like I said, I'm the caretaker of that there crypt. I pay my respects, that is, make my rounds once a month. It's only natural my fingerprints would be in there. I only wish that it were, officer. But you see, your fingerprints were covered in blood. Yeah. I mean, what else? Yeah. Witness, what's the meaning of this? Your blood-stained fingerprints were at the crime scene? Yeah. The blood was wiped away. However, a luminol test clearly revealed this. Well, Officer Marshall? It seems to me there ain't a person in this room with a head on his shoulders. What, now I gotta show that it was actually your fingerprints? I take it you have an explanation then, Officer Marshall? About the blood-stained fingerprints? Very well, you may begin your testimony about your fingerprints found at the scene of the crime. Let's see. Blood-stained fingerprints. Like I said, it's only natural for my fingerprints to be in the evidence room. One of them just so happened to be the same place as the blood-stained handprint. The murderer touched the locker where my fingerprint was by chance. The bloodstains and the fingerprints are completely unrelated. Or didn't you know the murderer was wearing gloves? See, I had nothing to do with it. How do you know that the murderer was wearing gloves? The witness's explanation appears valid, although there's room for doubt. Life wouldn't be fun without any doubt, partner. The defense may now cross-examine the witness. This guy's hiding something, I could feel it. Now's my chance to prove it. Well, yeah, I imagine I have to just get his fingerprint, right? I just want to look at what I have as evidence. Security footage. Marshall. Missing piece. Glove. Evidence room. He says that they were close to each other, but I don't think so. I mean, that's what this would prove. Let's see. Alright, well. Sorry, let's keep pressing.
Hold it!
That's because you, how did you put it? Pay your respects once a month, right? Yeah, that's right. That and one more thing. Oh? What's the one more thing? That locker happens to be mine. What do you mean? I mean what I said. What about the other one? That's the locker I used when I was still a detective. Oh, wait. That's the locker I used when I was a detective. The locker I still use. All that's in there now, though, is a heap of broken dreams. I see. It'd be strange if my prints weren't all over that locker. Apparently his fingerprint data was never removed from the locker's programming. He must have been using the fingerprint locks all this time without ever even knowing it. Marshall's handprints. Found on a bloody handprint on Marshall's own locker. The print was wiped clean. One of them happens to be in the same place as a blood-stained handprint. So then, what about the bloody handprint? Wasn't mine. It's no mystery. Please explain. My locker is covered with my fingerprints. I just so happen... Oh, okay. Keep pressing here. The chances of that happening are 1,000,000 to 1. On the contrary, one could argue just the opposite. Chances of that not happening are 1,000,000 to 1. Get one thing straight, partner. You ain't gonna get no reward from me with a mere fingerprint. You wanna know why? Sure, I guess. The bloodstained handprint, bloodstain and the fingerprints are completely unrelated. Unrelated? They're as different as night and day. Kinda like a cereal and a cereal. I don't like how that broke that, but okay. One's got to do with breakfast, while the other type's a murderer. He's right. Although, seemingly alike, they're totally different. I don't see what the homonyms have to do with this. Okay, how do you know that the murderer was wearing gloves? Yeah, how do you know that? I may be a loner, but I still do my job. I keep up on the reports. There was a bloodstain at the scene, thought to be left by the murderer. That's right. It was found in Detective Gumshoe's locker. However, no fingerprints were detected on that handprint. Oh yeah, I think we tried that too. So that would mean the murderer was wearing gloves and happened to place their hands on top of Officer Marshall's handprint. That's the only logical conclusion. Are you starting to get the picture, partner? The picture? This seal of blood. In the desert, it's just food for buzzards. What? There's only one reality, and that's this. A security tape. So long as my trail isn't there, you can't say otherwise. It is. It is. This isn't getting us anywhere, Mr. Wright. Please consider carefully where you're going with this cross-examination. Yes, Your Honor. Now then, continue your testimony, Officer Marshall. Too bad it wasn't me on that video, right, partner? Hold on, I gotta press a little more. What do you mean by that? You want to tie me to this crime, isn't that right, partner? If so, that video is the only direct evidence you have.
Objection!
I do have proof. But the video is next to useless. It's full of blind spots. Blind spots? Yes. Places that you can't see. The camera's panning back and forth. The floor isn't shown. And if someone was familiar with the camera's position, they could leave the room without being caught on tape.
Objection!
We don't have time for your speculations, Mr. Wright. Well, Mr. Wright, can you show us evidence in this video that indicates Officer Marshall was present? Please do so now. I do have proof, actually. It's the thing sticking out the bottom of his locker. Very well. Allow me to point it out? You're a mistake, then, Officer Marshall. Tread carefully, Mr. Wright, or you might wind up being the one making the mistake. I got it. Now then, let's have another look at the video. But we'll do that next time, because that's the time that we have for this episode. So remember to drink your water, eat a food, and take your pills if you haven't yet today, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care, everybody.